Alright, now the microphone should be on. Okay, we are currently live. Okay, we're good money now. Alright, so we got a little bit of breaking news. There's been a little trade. I want to show you my roster just a little bit, real briefly. So this is my offense. For anybody that wants to know, just really quickly, this is for our fantasy league, which is completely different than yours. So, it's points per reception, but it's also a lot more in depth than that. Then there's also a lot more players, and there's also a lot more involved. But so as you can see, this player and this player is what's about to be broken down to you guys. All right. So there are some players on my roster that you are not seeing. And the reason why that is because they are no longer on my roster. They're officially traded. I've done a trade with Renegades of Funk. We got active and we decided to finally pencil in and finally get it done. It took a while. It took a little bit. It took a lot of back and forth. Took a lot of, you know. He thinks that I'm getting just a little bit better end of the deal. I think it's fair. Me personally, I like my end of the deal. That's why I'm doing the deal. But I think it's fair as well. Also, and also, Renegades of Funk would definitely want to do the trade if it wasn't fair. So, first of all, let's start off with I'm giving away Harrison Smith at $4.50 on a 21 contract. What that means is he has 2 years left on his contract, and then you can either sign him to a max deal, which is what the average is for the top tier, the top 3 or 4 or 5 of that position. So, therefore, you can see Kyzir White is on a 20 contract. That means I'm going to explain that just after I break down what I'm giving up. So, I'm giving up Harrison Smith from Minnesota for $450 on a 21 contract. So, he's undervalued. So, that's where it helps out with that position. Harrison Smith also had his best year last year. You could also say he's older, but, I mean, age doesn't matter as long as, consistency and productivity is there. At the end of the day. So Harrison Smith going with a 5th rounder this year and a 6th rounder this year, and then followed up with the next. What is it? Yeah, 5th. I wanted to say 6th. I was like, man, I know it's not a 6th. I tried that a few times. He wouldn't budge on this. He wouldn't budge. He was kind of there on the 6th. On the 6th, the next one I thought I had him, and then he was like, you know what? Throw the 5 on there, and that's kind of how we got it done, which was kind of cool. So I'm giving up 2 5s overall this upcoming year, next year, and then a 6th rounder in Harrison Smith for Kyzir White in the 7th rounder of not this upcoming year, but the year after that. And I'm getting Kyzir White in the deal. I got to bring him on board, getting suited on board to get him his gear, the vibes, right? But then after that, I got to give him the contract because he has to get a contract at this point. I'm not trading all of that away for a guy that I'm not going to re-sign. So I'm going to re-sign him. He's going to be $4. And then he's going to be a little bit more money just because of a signing bonus. So this is the trade right here that I finalized with Renegades of Funk last night. So overall, I think maybe I'm on the plus end of this. But the only thing that's super scary and sketchy about this trade is Philadelphia never signs linebackers for a long duration anymore. They always give a guy a 1-year deal, even if they play well. They kind of, can give them the boot at any point in time. So it kind of gives you, them weary moments of that. So that's just where I'm at with that. So now let's scroll down and let's show you this. This is my trade with Show Me Your TDs. I am giving up stud linebacker Christian Kirksey. Yes, he got hurt last year, but he was still one of the top linebackers with tackles. Still a top linebacker in general. He's on a 20 contract, so if he wants to, he can re-sign him. He'd be at $4. Same thing as the Kyzir White trade. So that's kind of why I explained it there, so you can relate it here. So with that being said, Kyzir White could be $4. Christian Kirksey could be $4 for 2 years, and be very, 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 very beneficial if he's 100% healthy for 2 years straight. Incredible benefit on this trade. With that alone, because he could either cancel Brooks, he could do better than Brooks, or he could do right below Brooks, so it's not too much of a difference. Quandre Diggs, I felt like that was a good piece because he really needed help with his roster for safeties. He really needed safeties. He really needed value, and he needed something on the cheaper end because his money was really high with some other players. So, and it gets like that because we have contract restrictions. We also have salary cap issues. So right now he's facing a salary cap issue, and what this trade does is gives him two safeties that I think Kareem Jackson had 88 tackles. You guys could quote me on that. He had a couple of sacks. I don't know if he had a pick or not. No, he had a couple of pass deflects, quite a few tackle for losses. Scored maybe 1,200, 1,300 points. No. He probably scored around 1,100 points in our league, which is still really good for a safety. Probably around top 50 to 60 range in tackles. Probably top 12 to 15 range max in his position. So he's getting a top 15 player in that position. Point production wise, Quandre Diggs was top 15 as well last year, actually higher than that. He had actually more numbers and put up about 1,300 points last year for $1.50. Very good value, in my opinion, and I felt like that was a good way to kind of, because since Bobby Wagner's leaving, Seattle kind of gives Brooks a big opportunity, but if he doesn't feel it well, then it gives other players opportunities. They drafted him in the first round, so they do want him to succeed, I'm assuming so. So we'll see where that goes because he's not the best linebacker. And I'm going to be honest with you, he's probably the worst linebacker on my roster. But he has the potential to be really good, but he's just not a very good linebacker. But he has a lot of opportunity, and that's what makes him valuable. Like Christian Kirksey is a lot better linebacker than Jordan Brooks, but Brooks' opportunity there is a lot different with the schemes and the zones and the setup. So overall, Diggs going there with Bobby Wagner leaving, I feel was a good, give back to him because he's keeping the points in Seattle that he had, but he's also keeping it with a high rate safety that is going to play far back, but he's going to play on the back ends. He's going to make his tackles. His game logs is going to prove for themselves. He's going to score you on average, 80 to 100 points a week, which is what you need. So overall, he gets about, minimum 80 points out of three different guys, and I'm getting on average a 100-point guy. So I think it's very fair, beyond fair. That's what it was. Actually, we had a different trade right before the rookie draft that almost went through. But it was very similar to this, but it actually involved me re-signing Christian Kirksey before trading, which really would have hurt me even more with my money. But it would have also helped him a lot, and which would have made the trade even more beneficial for him. But then it had draft picks involved, but then he ended up wanting to draft a little bit. So then it was like, we maybe come back to it and figure it out. Okay, now, down here, I have another trade. Not done, but pending. Okay, now, it is with Blackout Squad. I will show you what I am giving up. I am not showing you what I would be receiving, okay? This is what I would be giving up. And what I would be giving up is a fourth rounder from the following year, a third rounder from this upcoming year, and Taylor Rapp, starting strong safety. I believe so. He may be the free safety. I don't know, but he scores like the strong safety for the Rams. So he's on a $3 contract for next year. So, for this current year. So this is his last year on the contract. Overall, the reason why that is, and I can't tell you who the player is that I could possibly be getting is, when I come here and I run the numbers on my safeties, I think that $3, one is cheaper than Adrian Amos. They're both on a 20 contract, and I think that Rapp could possibly have a better season than Amos because Rapp also he needs to prove himself this year for a good contract. Chin, I gave up some stuff to get. I gave up some draft picks to get him this season. In order for me to include it in, then I would need more back from him than what would be beneficial for him. So it kind of like hurts me and him for me to throw that in there. I thought about possibly trying something with Jerome Baker, but money wise, it just didn't fit. So that's kind of where we're at with it. You guys can kind of see my linebackers right there. Listen, we're getting there. Okay, Nicholas Monroe for Chicago. Roquan Smith looked like he's sitting out. Listen, could be phenomenal for us, right? We got Eric Kendricks, stud. You guys know the vibes. We got Devondre Campbell for Green Bay. If you don't know, you should know, and if you don't know, go Google something. And then we got Jerome Baker. Jerome Baker's numbers were terrible compared to what they could have been and should have been. But that's hearsay nor however that saying goes. But Jerome Baker is just very lackadaisical and very lazy when it comes to games over and the plays over and the guys there, and he could dive for the tackle and make the tackle, but they're down 15 with 2 minutes left, and he could have had 4 or 5 more tackles at the end of the game. He just doesn't make that extra effort to grab those quick tackles at the end of the ball games, especially if they're down. If they're in the ball game, he's locked in all around the field. I think the problem with Miami was all the other linebackers are terrible, and he had to blitz and play zone and play man and play bump with the tight end a lot. So I think that was a big reason for production loss, which there wasn't production loss, I don't think, but that would be why there would be. Let me see if there was production loss in Jerome Baker last year. I'm expecting around 130 tackles this year, maybe more, from Jerome Baker. I'm debating on cutting him and then just picking him back up for the same money or maybe $1 more in the draft. But I really don't have a lot of money, so I may not even be able to risk it. So the 1050 is perfectly fine value. Yeah, he went down a little bit. He went from 112 tackles to 92. And then the year before that, he had 126 tackles. But also, he's getting more sacks the last 2 years than what he did the second year in this league. So, there's a little bit of numbers for you guys. Excuse me, my apologies. We're going to kind of wrap it up right here. You guys have kind of seen my roster a little bit. You guys have kind of understand what the league is a little bit. See that there's a lot of players that are involved. I'm giving up, once again, Harrison Smith, 5th rounder, 6th rounder, 5th rounder, 4. You see what? Mr. Kyzir White, linebacker from Philly for $1. Got to re-sign him, but hopefully the Eagles do the right thing. Y'all pray for your boy that the Eagles do the right thing. Because, yeah, that'll get me tight if I waste a Harrison Smith. All right, but that's going to wrap up the video. Like, subscribe, comment, all of that. Turn on post notifications. And,